Thank you so much for joining us. And in this lecture, second lecture of The Gate of Trust, I will speak about how to trust God and the science behind entrusting God. In order to trust God, you have to understand that we can compare this to, for example, a tree. A lot of us have faith, right? And as we have faith, we believe that we have everything it takes to be on the same path with God and get what it is that we need and be secure. However, if you look at faith, faith is like a tree. And in order to have fruit, you have to first have a tree. But there are many times where there are trees that don't bear any fruit. So the fruit can actually be regarded as the trust with God, bitachon, with Hashem. When we are, we have to basically understand that in order to get to the level of trust, of course, you have to have the basics of faith, emunah. Faith is a prerequisite, right? It's the starting point in order to get to that level of trust. And it's very interesting when you look at it that, one could be with the other. Like, for example, you can have faith without trust, right? So you can have the tree without the fruit, but you cannot have the fruit without the tree. So once you achieve the level of trust, you are definitely going to have both faith and trust at the same time, and you will reach a level that will become extremely empowering. When it comes to faith, it insists that we're going to be implementing this human effort in order to depend on God's will. But when it comes to bitachon and trust, we are fully relying on God. And we're fully relying that God is actually going to provide. So it's another level because we're going all the way to the extent of it doesn't matter what happens. I know and trust that I will, be helped by God. For example, a burglar. If there's a burglar that is, about to rob a house, and in the middle of his burglary, he says, hold on, I need to take a moment, I need to pause, and I need to pray to Hashem, I need to pray to God, and, please God, help me make this a success. I want to rob this house with nothing stopping me, no obstacles. Does the thief have trust in God? Does he have faith? Yes, he has faith, but he obviously doesn't have any trust, because if he had trust, then he wouldn't be there in the first place. He would obviously let God be the one to control his well-being and his parnasa, his ability to make a living. And obviously, God is not, going to be supporting this type of behavior. So we know that, faith is definitely letting us know that things are ultimately good. But however, trust takes God's goodness and converts it in a way that we can appreciate it and really experience it in a way that is overly positive. So a lot of us have a connection with God, but we aren't experiencing that connection because we aren't having trust. And somebody can have emunah, trust, I've said this previously, and consistently their whole life. Because Jews by nature have a spark of God in them that makes them believers by nature. However, in order to have trust, sometimes we need to be awakened by certain challenges. So sometimes, unfortunately, people, they have a sickness or a death in the family or something that happens that only at that point they could get that awakening and start trusting God. We shouldn't wait, obviously, for those moments, but we should try to achieve the level of trusting God, from the get-go. So So a lot of people think that trust is synonymous with hope, which is tikva, and it's not, because someone can have hope, for example, that they, they're in a situation, there's a lot of problems, but they still see some light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, that is hope. They hope that they could see that light, and if they don't see that light, it leaves them without much hope. However, trust, you will see and have an experience in all obscurity. Things could go completely wrong. You can have absolutely no light at the end of the tunnel, yet you spring into action and you say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. It's basically being in the ocean, alone, free of any coast guards. So, for example, in the ocean example, you're swimming, you see that the Coast Guard is there or far away, you have hope that they're going to come and save you. But imagine you're in the ocean, no Coast Guard, you just alone. Will you still have trust that God is going to help and be there for you? Because ultimately, your trust is in the faith of Hashem. And also, hope doesn't offer any guarantees. When you hope that something's going to happen, so, if you're having trouble at work, if you're having trouble in your relationship, if you're just going to hope that the relationship will get better, will it get better? Will you have a better relationship with your wife or your spouse or your kids if you just hope that the problems will go away? No. Once you start to trust Hashem, then those problems start to see themselves go away, definitely, and you start to live a complete other different reality. You have the most, I would say that the most palpable example of experiencing this level of trust is that you hit a peace of mind, right? And you have a peace of mind where you trust Hashem that anything that happens is for the best. And you're just going to be extremely more calm. If you look at the word bitachon, bitachon has the root betach. Betach in Hebrew means, in English, means certainty. And we can be absolutely certain that God is going to help us and be there for us and free us of any anxiety. If you look at the word, from the word bitachon, right? If you look at the word tach, the last two letters, bitachon, it's right in the middle, tach. Tach means plaster, okay? There's a commandment in the Torah that says that tachet habayit, plaster your house. And plaster is really a bonding agent that can cement relationships, okay? That can cement different type of relationships in different circumstances and create deeper bonds. So it's very important that the same way that a person can has to cement the relationship with their spouse or family members or friends, or even in a business partnership, it takes a lot of that plaster. It takes a lot of, glue, if you want to say it, to make it stick. And it's not temporary. You want to make it permanent. So the same way with Hashem, with God, when we're building these stones, putting these stones one on top of the other, it doesn't help just to stack them, which I would say is more like having faith, right? So we're stacking stones. But the trust is that cement. It's the tach. It's putting the cement in between the stones so that now you plaster it together and you create a cemented bond with Hashem, with God, in order to create no obstruction that is so solid that nothing can interfere. And no matter what challenge you have in life, nothing will pierce right through it. It'll be the best relationship you have with God. And it's really going to be an experience of a lifetime. I can tell you that. In the Zohar, which is the Kabbalah, if you want to say, okay, which teaches us a lot of the mysticism in Judaism, we talk about, how Jews are truly one. And if all the Jews together can trust Hashem, we can really have the Zachdut, and we can definitely get closer to God. Obviously, with time, unfortunately, it's been more and more difficult to achieve this level with Hashem. There are, recently, the last class, I was a few people messaged me that they heard my class, and the next day they had some challenges. One of the guys called me up. And he applied for a loan, the government-backed loans that is for businesses that have been having a hard time during COVID. And unfortunately, he went through everything to get this loan, to get, the government money to help him. I think it was either the EIDL or PPP. Regardless, he applied, 4 or 5 months ago. And in the meantime, he made a substantial amount of investments and, borrowed money from people knowing like he's going to get this money from the government, okay, this assistance, and he should be okay. Happens to be, he calls me up and he says, Eli, I don't know what to do because I received, notice that the agent who was supposed to help me with my application says that the documents that were uploaded were blank, and the agent didn't even tell me that they were blank, and basically now it's too late to apply. I cannot get this money. I was relying on it, and now I'm in a very bad financial position, and he started going crazy and yelling, and he also got mad at that agent. And I told him, I said, wait a second, first of all, take a deep breath. That first of all, with negativity, you're not going to get past the situation. I know that you thought that you uploaded the documents. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe it's the other person's fault. But at the end of the day, trust in Hashem. I asked him to watch my first video, first lecture. He watched it and he said, okay, I trust in Hashem. I said, okay, now that you trust in Hashem, watch for miracles to happen. I'm not kidding, but literally about 24 hours later. So previously I had recommended him some other agents. I said, look, see what they could do. I know it's too late. You had to apply by the date. I think it was a few months ago. And, it's too late, but see if they can do something for you. Happens to be that the agent that I referred him to did a search on his name, on his company, on everything, and found an application that was done 2 years ago that he only got $1,000 from the government in terms of the SBA loan, okay? But now he was eligible to obtain up to, I think it was like $500,000 of government assistance as an extension to the application that was done 2 years ago. So obviously back then he probably got the $1,000 and said, what, $1,000? This is all I'm gonna get? Oh boy, like I'm done with this. Like this, maybe, I don't know what his trust in God was then. But now he was able to find this application from 2 years ago, and it's amazing. But the agent was able to determine and say, you know what, I'm actually able to get you the money that you need because you have already an application that was already accepted in the past. Even though it was $1,000 and it was in the past, we're able to reopen that file and get you the money that you need. So, but I can assure you that if he was set on, I got screwed, this agent didn't do the job that she did, the hell with God and the hell with this, that he would have never been in the mindset to get himself to not be depressed and positively look for other options and contact the other agents and see if there is other options. That is full trust in Hashem. And that's why I'm telling you that you apply this every day in your life and you will see things turn around. Almost every single, I can tell you from personal experience, every challenge that I've had, the moment that I said, trust Hashem, trust Hashem, trust Hashem, please, I trust Hashem, and I repeat it 100 times, crazy things happen. And you could feel free to comment and ask me questions personally. I'd be more than glad to respond. Of course, you could follow me in all the social media platforms under the nickname of Crypto Yid. I use Crypto Yid because I actually am very involved in crypto and I'm very passionate about crypto. Funny enough, I actually saw a little relationship in the word crypto and Yid. Crypto, sorry, is and Bitcoin, if you want to say, sorry, not crypto, but Bitcoin. I was looking at the word Bitcoin and I saw the word bitachon. It's literally bitachon with the letters Bitcoin, right? It's like if you take the ch and you put a dot from bitachon, the chaf, and you put a dot in the middle, you got Bitcoin. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Anyways, might not mean much to some of you, but I take advantage of this channel to try to help others and share the knowledge that I've learned over the years being involved in crypto. There's another situation where, a second example, where somebody that I work very closely with in real estate had listed one of our real estate properties on the market and had worked so hard in order to get this real estate listing going. And then all of a sudden, after getting a contract, getting a deposit, the buyer flew into Miami to take a look at the house, saw the house and said, I'm not buying this. I'm out. I'm canceling. Now, obviously, we could have been depressed. Oh my God, we lost an opportunity. What is this? I told her, I said, do you have bitachon? She said, yes. I said, do you trust that we're going to receive, if you have trust in Hashem, we will receive an offer that is above, and not only that, we will get full asking price on this real estate property. I can assure you that. She told me, okay, if that's what it is. I said, watch my first lecture and start the process. Have trust in Hashem, and you will see that the best will come. I'm not joking. Again, another live example, and I would love for them to share their experiences, and I'm going to try to do this on another live. They had basically told me, well, they showed me the next day, maybe the day after, I think it was about 2 days after, they received an offer for full asking, no questions asked. And not only that, but they're going to let us continue the management because it's a vacation rental property and we do vacation rentals. So we rent properties, Airbnb, short term, and basically they also will let us continue to do the management. So it was just phenomenal. It was just amazing how having trust in Hashem could really turn things around. When we start going through this process of trying to trust Hashem, we start having this clashing of realities. Okay, look, there's our beliefs, right? But then there's the real reality surrounding us, that there's challenges that we just don't see how to face and deal with. To have genuine trust in Hashem takes a lot of effort. We really have to, it can take a whole life to achieve this level of trust in Hashem. We have to put our egos aside. We have to put our instincts aside. We have to disconnect from what is normal in order to achieve this level. But I can assure you that as long as you're determined and you train your mind to continue trusting, you will get there. There's a natural spark in each and every one of us. As I said earlier, that this spark, okay, we're all done in the face of Hashem, the Tzelem Elokim. There's a spark in us that is buried so deep inside, that exists, that we have to excavate. We got to dig and dig and dig and find it. Find that spark. And once we found that spark, bring it out. And that spark is going to help us put our egos aside, our personal, whatever it is that we think, okay, we're in control of our bodies. We are to an extent, but Hashem is there. And once we pull out that spark, we're going to be able to trust. And believe me, it takes us into places that are amazing. There's a mechanism in order to operate our bodies and our minds and our souls to achieve this Jewish mysticism. The Kabbalah divides the cosmos into 4 primary worlds. We learn in Sha'ar Bitachon that the first world is called Atzilut, which comes from the root word Etzel, which means close to Hashem. This first world is ultimately divine. It's perfect, it's good, there is no evil, there is no bad. It is the closest we have to a perfect life, perfect relationship with Hashem. The second world is called Bria, which is creation. It's a very sacred level, and basically brings us to a point where we have divine expressions, but we don't necessarily have the goodness revealed. So we are close to Hashem. It's good, but we can't see it so clearly how Hashem is being connected to us. And then in the third is Yetzirah, which means formation. And in this level, evil emerges in some point, and we're living in a world of half good, half bad. So it's a mix. And then the fourth world, which is Asiyah, which is more action, is the materialistic world. That brings us to a point where the light is pretty much hidden. It's hard to see that God is there. And by default, this fourth world is actually pretty evil. So these 4 levels, obviously, we're basically in the 4th level, right? We're in the 4th level where it's all material, hard to see God sometimes, hard to see how good can come out of things, and as we're put to the test. And I think that we all have to work to try to get to the upper level, highest level, where everything is just perfect, right? And we really want to reach this highest realm, which is Atzilut, right? Closeness to Hashem. There is a catch, however, in order to achieve this closeness to Hashem. We have to override our nature to achieve this level, right? And no matter how negative something looks, we have to overcome it and turn it into positivity. It's very difficult to do that. And especially if we're facing an extreme hardship where we're in a situation that we can't overcome. Something's wrong, something's so bad, you're so deep, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? But you could get out of it, and you bypass this spiritual system by being firm with bitachon. And we have to trust that whatever looks negative on the outside is actually going to have an outward appearance that will eventually become good. If there's situations that you feel that are completely negative and there's no way for you to see the positivity, feel free to comment. I will try to share and respond with how you could see the positive in those situations. I would love to see what challenges you're all facing, in order to hopefully you're not facing challenges, but if you are, I would love to see what those are and how we can together take those challenges and convert them into positive outlooks, and just knowing that this is Hashem's plan. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great night.